welcome to teaching learning session of sociology. In our previous lectures, we discussed about sociologists like Karl Marx, a German sociologist. Then we discussed about Durkheim. He was a French sociologist. And today we'll discuss an important sociologist, Max Weber. Max Weber was born in Germany in 1864 and he died in 1920. Weber conceptualized sociology as mode of inquiry distinct from natural sciences. What does it mean? It means that according to Weber, we can study sociology or society as a science, but we should apply a different methodology to study sociology or to study society. So, a distinct mode of inquiry to study social society from natural sciences. According to Weber, a distinct subjective matter concerning the meaning attributed to social actor to their action in specific historical context. According to Weber, social actions of the social actor or the actions of the social actors are very important. There is a meaning of each and every action, and to study the society scientifically, we should understand and interpret the action of a social actor. Let us discuss the biographical sketch of Max Weber. Max Weber was born on 21st April 1864 in Germany in a prosperous Protestant family. His father was a politician and very much a part of political establishment of the day, leading a luxurious lifestyle. His mother, Helena, was a deeply religious person whose values were opposed to those of her husband. Weber's parents had a strained marital relationship, and this impact upon their children, including Marx. Early socialization and schooling of Weber. Weber was a weak child who suffered from meningitis at the age of 4. In early adolescence, he read extensively and developed intellectual interest of his own, and you will see his this intellectual interest contributed a lot in his writings. You will see this intellectual interest in his writings. We'll discuss about his writings. He was brought up in an intellectually stimulating atmosphere. Weber was a shy and withdrawn by nature in his school days. School teacher frequently complained about Weber's indiscipline and his lack of respect for authority. And when we discuss about his work about authority, you will be surprised. Is this Weber the same who wrote extensively about authority and power? In 1882, Max Weber went to University of Heidelberg. Max Weber suddenly became active and began to mix socially. The shy Max suddenly became a social person. In university, he became popular among the student. See, 180-degree changes in Max. However, he didn't complete his education, and after 3 terms, he left for military services in Strasbourg because of the World War One. He participated in World War One. After 2 years of military services, Weber returned to his parents in 1884. He joined University of Berlin to complete his education. He also studied the University of Göttingen. His PhD thesis was on the history of commercial societies in Middle Ages. His postdoctoral study was on Roman agrarian history. He attained a position of professor in German university system when he was only in his early 30s. He demonstrated his academic brilliance and scholarship in various lectures and addresses, which we'll discuss later in this lecture. Most famous was his 1895 public lecture on the national state and economic policy, which is popularly known as the Freiburg Address. His academic achievements took him to a great height. His personal life underwent a deep crisis. Professionally, he was on the heights, but personally, he was in deep crisis. His father's sudden death after an argument with his son, that is with Weber, upset Max Weber deeply. He held himself responsible for his father's demise and suffered from feeling of intense guilt, and as a result for several years Weber suffered from mental breakdown. See the ups and downs in Weber's life, which eventually lead to him resigning from the professorship at the University of Heidelberg. He became the professor at Heidelberg in early 30s, and then after the death of his father and after his mental breakdown, he left that professorship. In 1903, he was able to resume his scholarly work again, but he did not return to teaching for several years. He started writing again in 1903 but didn't return to the teaching for several years. His academic achievement to a great height. The themes he tackled included when he started writing in 1903. He wrote on many topics extensively, and the themes he tackled, one of them is the interrelationship between the religious idea and economic and social change. Right? What is the religious idea and the relation between the religion and the economic and social change? His work, Capitalism and Protestant Ethics, one of his major contribution, one of his major work, that is how he related the Protestant ethics to the capitalism, how the religion, that is the Protestant ethics, is responsible for capitalism, right? Next is the growth of rationality as defining feature of modernity. We'll discuss about rationality in details. Power and authority and control of modern state over the individual. He wrote extensively on power and authority, bureaucracy. In 1904, Weber published his important essays pertaining to social and economic issues. The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism was published in 1905. This is one of his major publications. In this publication, he explained how Protestant ethics, how Protestant religion is responsible for the spirit of capitalism, how this religion encouraged people to become capitalist. Some of the path-breaking contribution included his studies on the religion of China. Confucianism and Taoism is published in 1950. He studied various religions extensively and compared and contrasted those religions. He studied about the religion of China, that is the Confucianism and Taoism, and published his work in 1915. And then he studied about the religion of India, Hinduism and Buddhism, and ancient Judaism, and this work was published in 1916-17. Weber major contribution can be classified under the following categories: writing on economic history, that is Protestant ethics and capitalism; writing based upon his empirical studies on rural workers, industrial working conditions, and the German stock market. He extensively wrote about the industrial working conditions, about the rural workers, and the German political and economic situations and the stock market. Writing on the cultural sciences and their methodologies. Writing on the sociology of religion, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, right? This includes Calvinism. Calvinism is a Protestant Christian sect. As we discussed earlier, he wrote about the Confucianism and Taoism, that is ancient Chinese religion. He wrote about the Hinduism and Buddhism and ancient Judaism. So he wrote extensively on religion. Then his writings on general sociology, particularly the relationship between the economic, religious, judicial, and political system. He died in 1920. Marx contributed a lot to sociology. Socio-historical background of Marx. Marx was a public intellectual. He was an intellectual because of his intellectual family background. He studied extensively. He had interest in studies. He was passionately engaged with and participated in political sphere because of the political background. He was interested and engaged in political sphere. He volunteered for military services when the First World War broke out. He was a nationalist and he participated in the First World War. He left his job and participated in the First World War. He left his studies, not the job, and then he participated in the First World War. However, he was deeply critical to the German leadership and war policies. He criticized the German leadership of that time and the war policies of the German leadership, but German leadership didn't pay attention towards his advices. Marx advocated an overhaul of the political system, which made him very unpopular with the ruling class. As he was critical to the German leadership, he advocated the total change of the political system, which made him very unpopular among the ruling classes. After Germany's humiliating defeat in First World War in 1918, Weber argued for sovereignty in politics. He assisted in drafting of a new constitution of Germany. As he was interested and participated in politics, so he assisted in drafting the constitution of Germany and the founding of the German Democratic Party. He was the founding member of the German Democratic Party. Weber started working. Weber started taking interest in politics and was active in Christian social political circle. He published numerous papers pertaining to socio-political situation of the Germany of that period. He was concerned about the socio-political and economic conditions of the Germany, and he published various papers pertaining to these issues. Weber work poses a very interesting contrast to that of the Karl Marx. Marx was from Germany, right? But there is a contrast between the work of the Karl Marx and the Weber. As we all know, Karl Marx is a materialistic sociologist. He linked everything to the material, to economics. But it is not with the case of Max Weber. Karl Marx materialistic conception of history was marked by economic determinism. As I told you, Marx was an economic determinist, right? Was a materialistic sociologist, while Weber theorized the fundamental roles of values and belief system in shaping the counter of material existence and provide a corrective to Marxian model. According to Marx, economic or material is responsible for social changes or for social upheavals. But according to Marx, values and beliefs are important in shaping the material existence, in shaping the society. So he has given stress to values and beliefs. According to Marx, values and beliefs plays an important role in society and social changes. It is not because of material influences only, but because of material, no doubt economic plays an important role, but above all, values and beliefs are important. Values and beliefs plays an important role, right, in society. Now let us discuss the intellectual influences. Marx was influenced by various authors. The philosophical climate of Germany in the later part of 19th century probably had most outstanding system of higher education in the world and the highest standard of research in both natural sciences as well as other disciplines. There was the high standard at that time in the later 19th century. In Germany, there was the high standards of the researches, whether it is of natural sciences researches or researches of other disciplines. While natural sciences aimed at making accurate predictions and generalization based upon the empirical observation and are thus considered the exact sciences. Why we consider the natural sciences as exact sciences? Because we can generalize the results of natural sciences. We discussed it many times when we were discussing about Durkheim. We discussed it. According to Durkheim, we can study society as per the rules of natural sciences, but my Max differed from Durkheim. We'll discuss about this. But why we call the Max as a why we call natural sciences as an exact science? Because we can generalize the empirical results of natural sciences, right? Okay. While the positivist worldview, particularly in England and France, also held that the study of social or cultural phenomenon should be guided by the principle of natural sciences. That's what I explained you few minutes back. That when we were discussing about that Durkheim, he was a French sociologist in England and French. These sociologists, they according to them, we can study the society as per the principle or the rules of natural sciences. But the German scholar rejected this. German scholar is of different opinions. According to German scholars, they stressed upon the contextual and historically specific nature of social phenomena and the way in which they differ across time, space, and historical circumstances. According to them, context and history plays an important role. Through history and through context, present context, we can study the society properly. But Weber rejected the positivist notion that the cognitive aim of the natural sciences and social sciences were basically the same. It could not be same. We cannot study society on the basis of the principle which we apply on natural sciences. According to him, it is not possible, right? So he rejected the positivist notion that we can apply the principles of natural sciences on social sciences. But Max Weber also challenged the German historic view. He challenged the German historic view. According to Weber, this scientific method always takes recourse to abstraction and generalization. We can study society scientifically, but this scientific method always takes a recourse to abstraction and generalization. According to Weber, to understand human beings and their action, it was necessary to understand their motivation, which were not observable like outward and overt behavior. So, according to Weber, it is important to understand the motivation behind the action of a social actor, right? Action, social action. According to Weber, social action is important. He has given preferences to individual rather than the society. According to Weber, individual is important, not the society. This individual, the group of individual forms the society, while if you remember, according to Durkheim, society is important, not the individual. So according to Max Weber, to understand the human being and their action, it is very important to understand their motivation. What is the motivation? In simpler term, if I define motivation, motivation is nothing but the reason for one's action. Why should I do this? Right, that is motivation. Why some actor is performing some action or doing something, that what is the motive behind it, is it is very important to understand the motivation behind the social actor's action. Weber played an important role in proposing a methodology that would enable social scientists to understand the constructed nature of social reality from the perspective of social actor or individual living in society, as well as larger or macro process at social level. So he proposes a methodology. According to Weber, we cannot apply the methodology of natural sciences on social sciences. So he proposes a methodologies. From by applying that methodologies, social scientists can understand and construct the nature of social reality, and they can study the society scientifically, but a different methodology should be applied on this society. You cannot apply the same methodology of natural sciences on social sciences. His idea about the role of value judgment in conducting sociological research was an important methodological and philosophical contribution. He has given importance to values and belief. So, according to him, the value judgment in conducting social research is an important methodological tool. He was influenced by Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant made a clear cut distinction between the biological and the physical dimensions of human existence and the spiritual and the idealistic dimensions. As he was influenced by Immanuel Kant, and Immanuel Kant made a distinction between the biological and the physical dimensions of human beings and their existence and the spiritual or idealistic dimension. That's why Max was of opinion that we cannot apply the principles of the natural sciences on social sciences. Although we can study society scientifically, but we should apply different methodology to study society. These influences can be seen in Weber's approach to methodology, understanding the social action. To understand human being and the culture and history, an empathetic understanding of the reason behind human action and an understanding of overall cultural pattern was essential. If you want to study society scientifically, it is very important that researchers should understand the overall culture of the society and the empathetic understanding of the reason behind the social action. Why someone is performing some task, It is very important to understand the motive behind it. It is very important to empathetically understand their social action, to understand their social culture if you really want to study society scientifically, right? So social action, values, empathy, it is very important. The ideas of the German philosopher William Wendelband, Heinrich Rickert, and William Dilthey greatly influenced Weber. Weber was influenced by Immanuel Kant. He was influenced with Dilthey. He was influenced with Rickert and Wendelband. Wendelband, that the aim, according to Wendelband, the aims and objective of natural and cultural sciences were different, right? The aims were different. According to Windelband, the aim cannot of natural sciences and social sciences could not be same. So the aims were different. That's what Max told, that the aims could not be same. We can study society scientifically, but by applying different methodologies. Natural sciences aimed at generating universal laws. The cultural sciences aimed at more particularistic understanding of unique phenomenon, right? They natural sciences generate universal laws, while cultural sciences or social sciences aimed at more particularistic understanding of unique phenomenon, why it is happening in some culture, what is the reason behind this action. While Dilthey believed that to properly undertake a study of human society and culture, it was not enough to study it from the outside, like the physical or natural phenomenon, but rather from the inside through experience and subjective understanding. So, researchers should have thorough knowledge about the culture, about the society. If you want to study about the X society, Y society, you should have a thorough knowledge about that society. Then only you can make researches, or then you can only understand the reason behind their actions, right? Like in natural sciences, you can observe the things from outside, but in social sciences, if you will observe the things from outside, then you will not be able to generalize your results, right? But if it is important for a researcher, if they want to study some phenomenon in the society, it is better to understand that society, that culture properly, right, through experience. Weber's notions of worthen or empathetic understanding was deeply influenced by Delthey's formulations. Worthene. It is important concept given by Weber. Remember this term, Worthene. Worthene is empathetical understanding. Empathetically understanding means you should understand the reason behind their actions, the reasons behind their beliefs, the reasons of their values, their beliefs, their actions, and the reasons why they are doing something. It is very important, and he was influenced with Delphi, and so has given the concept of Vasthane, that is empathetic understanding. Weber conceived of empathetic understanding as only the first step of sociological analysis of a phenomenon. This is the first step, to be followed by causal explanation that was closer to positivist and empirical tradition of natural sciences. So he had taken a middle path of positivist and the German philosopher. According to him, the first step to study sociology or the social sciences is Worthane, that is the empathetic understanding. First of all, you should understand the reason behind the values, beliefs, or the actions of the social actors. After understanding this, then you should follow the causal relationship. Causal relationship, current sambandh. Why someone is doing something, why this is happening in the society, what is the reason behind this action. Then the causal relationship, that was closer to positivist and the empirical tradition of natural sciences. That the positivist said that causal relationship should be there. What is causality and probability? Weber has given a term, probability. What is probability? Let us understand this term. There is sometimes a misunderstanding that Weber, in tune with the German idealistic tradition, rejected the notion of causality, while it is not. This is inaccurate as Weber firmly believed in both historic and sociological causalities. Due to extreme difficulty in making straightforward causal links in something as complex as social world, Weber uses the concept probability. Right, sometimes it is difficult to make the relationship as in the complex social world. You can make a direct relationship why this is happening. You cannot directly link one thing to the another. So when you cannot directly link some phenomenon to the another, some action to the reason, then he has given a term probability. What is probability? Probability implies that in a given social situation, human beings are likely to respond in a particular manner, which is governed by the norms of a society. At a particular time, someone is behaving in a particular manner, right, because of the norms of the society. As the society changes, right, the way you are behaving today or the way you were behaving few months, the few years or few centuries back, right, there are changes in the society. The probability according to Marx, probability implies that in a given society, in a given social situation, human beings are likely to respond in a particular manner, right, which is governed by the norm of society. This cannot be guaranteed with complete certainty for all actors because there may be certain unique circumstances that may result in them behaving or acting differently. But you cannot guarantee where this is happening, the reason behind is this, or you cannot find a relationship directly, find out the direct relationship. But you can explain it with probability that this is happening, that in this society, because probably because of this reason, because of the probable, because of this value or the norms of the society of the present time, right? So we behave according to the contemporary world, according to the contemporary society, what is going on in the present society, then you behave according to the contemporary society, contemporary time, right? Then Weber called this as a probability. Then Weber distinguished between historic causality and sociological probability, right? Historic causality refers to the unique causes that give rise to a particular event. Why this happened? What was the reason behind the First World War, Second World War? We can refer to a unique causes, right? But social probability refers to the connection or interrelationship between two phenomena. So the two phenomenon, one phenomenon, because in society, nothing can be isolated. You cannot be in isolation in society. So one phenomenon impacts the other phenomenon. That's what Weber told, that sociological probability is the connection or interrelationship between the two phenomenon. One phenomenon impacts the other phenomenon, right? So the interrelationship between the two phenomenons, right? Weber attempted to reconcile the subjective and interpretative understanding of social and historical phenomenon with rigorous scientific method based upon causal analysis, interpretation analysis. Remember this term, Weber has given the interpretative understanding. According to Weber, it is very important to interpret the society or the phenomenon. Interpretative understanding is very important. Why someone is doing something, why this phenomenon is happening in the society, why actor is performing this action, you should interpret it. It is very important. Interpretation, interpretative, social, interpretative understanding. This is given by, this methodology is given by the Max Weber, right? Remember this Varsthane, remember interpretative sociology, remember social actions, right? These are the few key terms related to Max Weber. Weber attempted to reconcile the subjective and interpretative understanding of social and historical phenomenon with rigorous scientific method based on the causal analysis. Sociology must be concerned with empirical analysis of society and history. The method of sociology would have been different from that of natural sciences. We all know this. Sociological analysis would have to examine social action within the context of social interaction and would have to be interpretative, right? So if you want to analyze this society, it is very important to examine the social action, why some actor is performing or taking some action with context to social interaction, and it is important to interpret that action, right? Interpretation is very important. If something is happening in the society, if society is undergoing a change, you should understand the reason behind it, why this is happening. So interpretative analysis is very important according to Max Weber. It is important for it if you really want to study society scientifically. It is important to interpret the social actions of the social actors, why they are doing this, why this action, why this phenomenon exists, what is the reason behind it. Interpretation is important. In order to understand the social behavior or human action, it is imperative that the social scientists engage with values and beliefs that underlie the behavior of human beings and the society. As we discussed earlier, according to Weber, you cannot study the society from outside. It is very important. If you really want to study a society, it is important to involve in the society, learn their culture, learn their values and tradition, then only you can study this society scientifically, right? Objectivities and values in social sciences. There was no such thing as an objective science of society, unlike earlier founders of sociology, according to Weber. One of Weber's major concern was a relation between sciences and human action. He has given emphasis on human action. According to Weber, human action is important and interpretation of human action is even more important. Human action, right? He distinguished between the values relevance and value neutrality. What is value relevance and value neutrality? We will discuss about this. The researcher cannot twist or manipulate the finding to suit his or her own ideology or value system. Value neutrality highlights the gap between the facts and values. What is values? Values are important according to Weber. Values are important. Values are behind the social actions, and these social actions are responsible for the social phenomenon. If you really want to study social phenomenon or society scientifically, try to learn this value relevance. Value neutrality is what? Value neutrality is while a researcher is studying about a phenomenon, about a social phenomenon, he should be value neutral, right? He should not manipulate his result according to his or her values. Neutrally, he should observe that society and should try to find out the results, rather than putting his or her values in that, rather than manipulating the finding to suit his or her ideology. That value neutrality of researcher is very important. Suppose if I want to study about the stress of the students, right? According to me, see, my perception is that students are not at all stressed. This is my perception. It could be true, it could not be true. If I really want to study about the stress factors responsible for the stress or the depressions of the student, I should be value neutral. I should keep aside my thinking, my perception, and then should start studying about the fact. This is value neutrality. When you are studying about some aspect, right, it is important you should keep aside your values and perception and study the values of the society or the conditions of the society. Don't try to manipulate the results. According to Weber, the role of scientists was not to engage in moral debate or to act like a prophet, but rather to throw light upon the facts and their interrelationship. It is not the duty of a researcher to act like a sadhu or a prophet, right? Don't include yourself in moral debate. Okay, this is right, this is not. The responsibility of a scientist or a social scientist or a researcher is to throw light upon the fact and their interrelationship. Why, if something is happening in the society, why this is happening, is there any relationship of this phenomenon to other phenomenon? This is the role of the scientist or the researcher. Now let us discuss about the central ideas of Max Weber. As we all know that Weber has given more importance to individual rather than the society. But according to Durkheim, society is important, but according to Weber, individual is important. So central ideas, Weber has given the idea of ideal type. What is ideal type? Ideal type is nothing but a methodological tool. Through ideal type, you can study the phenomenon, the social phenomenon scientifically. It's a methodological tool. In ideal type, a certain model or construct of reality to be studied is formulated by the researcher. Right? If you want to study about a phenomenon, so in ideal type, you form a model or a construct of reality to be studied. Suppose, as I told you, if I want to study about the stress level of the students, right? Whether students are stressed or not. So I should form a model or a construct of reality to be studied. What all factors are there which are responsible for this stress? I should know. I should know the reason. I should know the values, beliefs, and the culture of the society. Then only I can find out the constructs responsible for that factor, for that phenomenon. So ideal type is nothing but a model, a certain model or a construct of reality to be studied is formulated by the researcher. They have to form a model. The phenomenon which they want to study, they should form a phenomenon. They should form a model of that phenomenon. How they can form that model? By abstracting the most prominent feature of that phenomenon. That's what I told you now. I should, if I want to study about the stress, I should abstract the most prominent feature, the most prominent reason for that phenomenon, for that particular reason, for that particular factor. What are the particular phenomenon? I should find out the most prominent features responsible for that phenomenon. It acts as a measuring rod to compare the similarities and differences between real and ideal. Right? So that after extracting the most prominent feature, I can compare, and after finding out my results, after studying the society, I can find out the actual and the ideal the similarities and difference between the real and the ideal. Key, what is the exact results and what are the ideal results? Enables the researcher to construct hypotheses, linking them with conditions that led to a particular phenomenon or event becoming a prominent, or the consequences resulting from emergence of particular phenomenon. What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is nothing but a statement or perception of the researcher. As I told you, if I want to study about the stress level of the students, then my hypothesis could be that students are not stressed. There is that students are not stressed. This is my perception, or my perception could be students are highly stressed. Let's say my perception is that students are not stressed. It could be wrong. I know this is wrong, right? I should not say this is wrong. If I am saying this, it means I am not value neutral. Being a researcher, I should be value neutral, right? I have given a hypothesis. How could I give the hypothesis? On the basis of the model which I have constructed through ideal type. So using ideal type, I can construct a model. How could I construct a model? By abstracting the construct of the phenomenon, by abstracting those factors responsible for stress. Let's say working hours, say classes, and there could be many other things which could be responsible for stress. So I should find out those construct, those factors. Then I should, with the help of this model, in last point what I explained, what I wrote is, it enables the researcher to construct a hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but a perception, a statement given by the researcher. As I said, when I want to study the student, stress level of the student, my hypothesis could be students are not at all stressed. This is my hypothesis. But to check this hypothesis, this ideal type plays an important role, and a researcher should be value neutral. This is ideal type. It is nothing but a methodological tool which help us to study the society scientifically, right? Social action, next concept given by Max Weber is social action. What is social action? Max Weber conceived of sociology as comprehensive sciences of social action. According to Weber, sociology is a comprehensive sciences of social action. Weber, Weber's sociological work was geared towards the understanding the subjective meanings that the human actor attach to their actions, in which mutual orientation within specific social historical context. According to Weber, social action is very important. It is important to understand the subjective, it is important that one should have subjective meaning or the understanding of the social action. Suppose if um, uh, let us take an example. Let us take an example to understand this social action. Um, a fight, suppose a fight break out between the two individual on the road, right? This is the social, one person slapped other, right? So this is the social, and the second person slapped him back, right? These are the social action. So it is very important. According to Weber, these social actions are important. It is important to understand the social action. What was the social action? Social action is the interaction among the individual, interaction among the society, among the individuals of the society. So it is important to understand the social action subjectively. Why someone is performing some task, why persons slapped each other. This is the social action. It is important to understand that phenomenon, subjective meaning, the subjective meaning that the human attach to their action. What is the subjective meaning that you attach to your phenomenon? Suppose if you are attending the class, it is your social action. Then it is, you one should understand why students are attending the classes. What is the reason behind it? Because they want to because they want uh, because they want to qualify their exams. This could be the one case. Or because they want knowledge, they want to gain knowledge. This could be the another reason, right? So it is important to understand the subjective meaning behind the social action, right? It is very important if you really want to study society scientifically. In comparison with Durkheim and Marx, Weber also emphasized the role of values and culture in orienting human behavior. Max Weber has given importance to the values and culture. According to Weber, values and culture plays an important role in orientation of human behavior. According to Durkheim, society is important, individual is not important, collective consciousness plays an important role. So collectively, whatever the society says, it is important, it is good for the society according to Durkheim. And Karl Marx, we all know, he was an economic determinist. He always linked everything with the economics. But Max Weber has emphasized on the values and culture in human behavior orientation, right? So values and culture plays an important role according to Max Weber. While Durkheim focused on the society and social fact, which had both exteriority and constraint. If you remember, when we were discussing about the Durkheim, we discussed about the exteriority and the constraint. About the social facts, social facts are nothing but they they implement constraints on the individual and plays an important role. But Weber focused on the individuals and their action. Durkheim focused on the society, on collective consciousness, on social fact, but Weber focused on the individual and their actions. Marx argued that material world was more important than the world of ideas, right? If you remember, according to Marx, it is not the ideas, but it is the classes or the material which is responsible for changes in the society, or which plays an important role in this society. Okay, na? If you remember that class conflict theory of Marx. Weber argued that ideas were the motivating factor that shaped the action of individual. So according to Max Weber, ideas are important, right? These are the motivating factor that shape the actions of individual, and actions are important, right? So according to Durkheim, it is collective consciousness or social fact which plays an important role, right? According to Marx, it is material or class which is important, but not the ideas. But according to Max Weber, it is the ideas which are important and plays an important role in motivating the individual and shape the action of individual. Durkheim was concerned with institutional arrangement that maintained the cohesion of social structure, because that was the time of upheaval and France and other European countries because of frequent uh, uh, revolutions, right? So Durkheim, the main concern of Durkheim was institutional arrangement that maintain the cohesion of social structure. So that's why Durkheim told that society is important, not the individual. While Marx devoted attention to the class struggle and changing social and economic structure, right? Weber primary focus was on the subjective meaning that human actor attached to their actions in their mutual orientation within specific socio-historical context. But according to Max Weber, it is individual is important, and it is there the subjective meaning of the social action performed by the social actors, performed by the individual, which plays an important role, right? So social action, remember these terms, social action, right? Social action is important, it plays an important role in mutual orientation, right? Weber identified four major kinds of social actions. According to Weber, there are four major kinds of social action. Traditional social action. Second is emotive or affective social actions. Third is value oriented rational action. And fourth is goal oriented rational action. Traditional action is based upon the values and customs of the society. As we always greet our elders with folded hands and we say namaste, this is traditional action, right? When we fold our hands in front of our elders, this shows that we are paying respect to them. This is the traditional action. It is based on the values and customs of the society. Affective action upon the emotional state of mind of individual at a particular time. What is the emotional state of mind of an individual at a particular time? At a particular time, how someone is behaving depends on the emotion. If I am very happy, I am behaving in a certain way, right? If I am not happy, I am sad, I behave in a different way. So this is affective action. My actions would be different. Rational actions. What are the rational actions? Rational action entails pursuing certain goal using rational means. Like Weber brought into his analysis the dimension of human action and considered the concrete acting individual as unit of analysis for understanding of human society. So he has given importance to individual. If you really want to study society scientifically, it is important to analyze the individual. Individual is a unit of analysis. Understand individual rather than understanding the society as a whole. These individuals will form society. His interpretative sociology considered the individual and his or her action to be the basic unit or atom and only carries the meaningful conduct. Right? So it is important that you should study the individual's action, because these individual will form a society. And now next action is value oriented rational action, involves the pursuit of certain value or goal that may not be rational. You want to achieve some values, some goals, value oriented, but that could be not rational, like your spiritual goals. If you want to attain some spiritual goals, that is value oriented rational action. Next is goal oriented rational actions, wherein the goals are means of rationally chosen. Suppose if you want a promotions in your job, that is the goal oriented, then you will work accordingly so that you get the promotion. That is goal oriented rational actions. Weber used his typology of forms of social action to understand the social changes. He used these social action to understand the social change. According to him, these social actions are responsible for social changes. Next is rationality. By rationality, Weber referred to the logical and coherent idea and behavior that governs the activity. Why I am doing this? Why I should do this? Right? This logical and coherent idea and behavior is rationality. The logic behind every action is rationality. The modern Western world is characterized by rationality. Why I should do this? Right? What will I get if I'll perform X work? What will be my benefit? This is if someone knows about the theory. That theory is known as uh, that theory works on the three principle. Like if someone has given me, suppose if someone has given me some task, I will analyze the relationship between the performance, between the uh, how much efforts I have to uh, put in so that I can perform. Effort performance relationship, then performance reward relationship. Suppose if I perform, then what rewards I will get, and rewards and personal goal. Is that reward attractive enough? Attractive enough is that will I be able to achieve my personal goals? This is rationality. Rationality means logical and coherent idea. Why should I do this? Right? In modern world, Western world is characterized by rationality. Right? Human activity is marked by methodical calculation. As I told you, why I should do this, how much efforts I have to put in so that I can perform. After performance, what rewards I will get, and how attractive those rewards are. Right? We work on calculations. So, to Weber, rationalization means the principally there are no mysterious, incalculable forces that come into play, but rather one can principally master all things by calculations. Right? You can master everything. His studies in sociology of religion document the rationalization of religious life. Um, and he also studied the process of rationalization in sphere of law, political authority, and even in the world of music. Weber's vision of the future was that world so highly regulated and rationalized that we would become the prisoner of our own device, trapped in an iron cage of our own making. We are so highly rationalized that one day we will be trapped in an iron cage which we have made for ourselves. Right? Weber analysis of effects of their iron cage of bureaucracy on individual and society draws an attention to the way the bureaucratic rationality of modern Western world exerts. We'll discuss about the bureaucracy and religion and economy, and the bureaucracy, power and authority, about given by the concepts given by the Weber in our next lecture. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Namaskar.